Hey everybody, it's a little late tonight. I just finished up microbiome homework, some of it. Still got a lot to do, like four more chapters, and then just like kind of review. So far, I'm probably averaging about a 70 or so in the class. Um, but that's also because I've been sick for like the last 4 weeks with my bronchitis. So I got, you know, some time kind of lost from that. I lost some time from work. Started a new position, so now I'm in the ER working in that capacity. Um, I like it thus far. However, I don't like the fact that they pre-schedule um, certain weekends. Like I don't mind working weekends. I was working on, in my last position, but I was under the impression that if I'm working 19 hours, that would be 2 days and a half shift. So, anyways, long story short, when I tried to schedule for a half shift, they pretty much denied it. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I won't be picking up too many days because I'm not about to be working out 40 plus hours every week or close to it. I think this week alone, from last week and this week, I did like 69 hours on top of my 80 hours, on top of homework, and, trying to knock out my medical terminology and just a whole bunch of stuff, right? Um, and then um, I guess it has just been like really weird lately. Um, like when I talk or say stuff or make comments, or if my voice get a certain way, like, you know, it has become an issue, or I'm making it an issue, or I'm too emotional or whatever. So, um, so my boyfriend had mentioned, like, I think you need to like leave one of your jobs and so we can have more time. But in my mind, but see, like though it was the past, I was in the season when he was in his season, and I saw him whenever I saw him, right? At that time, I was, working, trying to stay occupied and trying not to, be extra. Of course, when I'm in school, sometimes I get overwhelmed or a little stressed out because of things happening with that. And then if work is stressing me out, like, so I tend to be a little more hyper with certain responses or whatnot. So, or I can be grouchy or just a whole bunch of emotions, right? On top of, I just am finding out that I'm in premenopause. So I'll be turning 39 on Monday and really just want to heal because, like, I have been coughing up a storm. Luckily, my doctor, extended the medicine so that I could kind of like calm my coughs down or slow them down some so I can at least have a halfway decent sleep. But, anyways, we was talking, so, I'm like, I did try this before and then you got busy. And then it was almost like, well, you always holding stuff against people and this and that. And I'm like, what? How am I holding anything against anybody? Like, I don't have no room or any, you know, way of holding anything against anybody. You choose to do what you choose to do. No problem. So then I asked, well, what are your goals? It didn't necessarily have to be about school. That's my goals. My goals is I would like to become a PA. And all of you guys know that. I talk about it on several occasions of the interview process, of the application process, and how I'm, knocking out classes at the same time, still working full time or better in hours, still trying to maintain halfway decent grades and all of that. still paying out of pocket, still doing everything that I need to do so that I can be successful in what I'm trying to do. Now, I'm not saying that I won't stop working. Eventually, I will have to stop working because I'm going to PA school, and that's going to be by itself, stress. So I don't need no extra stress and no extra job and all of that on top of, that schooling for those 2 or 3 years. Mostly 2 years because I'm not trying to do no 3 years. I'm trying to do 2 years and be done. Um, so, and so I feel like he has a problem with that because, oh, you'll have to go out of state and this and that. Well, unfortunately, like my grades wasn't high enough to stay here in Michigan or to get into any Michigan school. I've applied to several of them and I have not gotten accepted into none of them, let alone on the wait list. I think I talked to Eastern Michigan and they were like pretty much, like I would have to like take my lab over because they won't accept it, this, that, and the other. Okay, you know what? Well, then I won't be applying to your school. I will apply to any school that accepts this lab that I just spent $300 for a kit, $100 for the last almost 2 years because I had some delays for finishing up the class because of work schedule and trying to spend time with him and trying to, have obligations with my mom and dad and appointments here and there and trying to, have self-care for myself and still not being able to do so, you know. And yet I was not complaining about that, right? But now that, it's getting closer to my goals and what I would like to do, like now you want to be shitty and stuff, like saying like little stuff that just be like, oh, um, that was dumb, how what you said and this and that, and every time I bring up something or ask you a question, now you getting hyped up and you getting an attitude and causing an argument. Like it's always I'm causing something. What are you causing? Like, have you looked in the mirror and really like looked in the mirror and said, "Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to do as a significant other, a boyfriend, whatever you want like to, call it?" Like, yeah, I'm focused right now. So a lot of stuff that I used to do, I wasn't in school. So yeah, I had free time to chill and do all that extra stuff. But I have a license that I cannot jeopardize. I cannot lose my, MA license. And then I'm trying to, apply for other licenses to get certifications for. So no, I'm not trying to, get into no extra stuff and be doing extra things. So, and I'm very grounded. I'm very, focused and I've, talked to God about different things. I've wrote to him. I've, expressed like, how can I change my communication skills? How can I talk to him and not at him? How can I, not react to certain questions or get triggered by certain questions? But, and then I over explain because of, past relationships and trying to, you know, let the other person know like, that's not my character, that's not who I am. I'm not, trying to be out here doing stuff. Yeah, though it happened when I was in my 20s, it shouldn't have happened at all, but like you live and you learn. And then I felt like that person had resentment because of the things that had happened or had took place. A lot of things had kind of stopped because of those things happening. Um, and then I just feel like, he made a comment like, yeah, when we first met, like it was just doo doo, like, we was going places doing stuff, da da da. Now it's like all that stuff have stopped. No, that stuff didn't stop. You, it's on you. It ain't on me no more. I did what I did my contribution of planning things and doing things and trying to go places and try to, do things while I had the time and availability while still going to school, while still working, while still doing all of the things that needed to be done and taken care of. Like my second job is literally my hours for me to get into PA school. If I quit that job, I can't get my hours. And I know I'm not quitting my day job. So I don't know what to tell you. Like it's I really don't. I started with 4 jobs. Probably more than that because I was doing little side jobs here and there. I used to deliver groceries. I used to, do secret shoppers assignments sometimes. Then I left from that to, doing more patient care. And then I left from that to doing, cleaning in offices for a little bit. And then I left from that to like, be back in home care. Left from that and decided to try the remote setting with the telesitter. Now I'm in the ER. And though the people, when I started, some of them people was real shitty and real, like, just like no kind of, no high, no nothing, no friendliness. Like, it was just real bad the first day. Second and third day, like, it wasn't too bad because I, like, kind of maneuvered around and figured out how to find places and things. By the time I got to like the 4th day, now they like, oh, you need to go to triage. And I'm thinking, dang, like I ain't even learned this part, but okay, I'm going to triage. Then they was like asking me like, so when you coming back to triage? I have no idea because like my shift that starts at 7 to 3 in the morning, like we running. Like from the time I get there, we are like literally boom, 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 boom. Now it might be like some downtime for like a hot second, but then usually if it's downtime, they was like, triage a call to take the people in ER to the ER rooms. Okay, no problem. That shouldn't be too hard. Um, but then when we don't have that going on, like we have like assignments after assignment up until we go to break. Then when we come back from break, it's like literally boom, boom, boom. Like I literally worked all the way up until like 3 o'clock almost. I was like, dang, like I had to still take the phone back. I still had, so I saved some time because I came early to drop off some paperwork to the scheduling department, fill out the form at the charge nurse station for attending the town hall meeting. So I was able to save that time. And then, then when my shift ended after my last patient, like, I logged out, made sure I was logged out of everything, and then turned in the phone to the desk. And then left from there to go home. And so then that's like another 30 minutes. Get home, took a shower, in bed, back to work, up all day, still up because I had to do homework and, trying to settle down. But, like I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like today I listened to an interview with this young lady who was 31 and seeing how like she was engaged for about 8 months but she pretty much like publicized her engagement. So like he was a private person and she was, always doing content and all this stuff. And it was like similar things that she started experiencing that I feel like I am experiencing right now. And it's like I'm not even engaged, but I feel like, the communication is just like not there no more. It's like, really, what was you really in my life for? Like, like trying to like question myself, like, because I know I was, for good intention, I prayed about it. But then I'm like, now looking at it, I'm like, when I asked, hey, you want to go to church? Or if I'm at work, you should probably go to church. Sometimes he go and then sometimes he don't even think nothing about it. And I just feel like now the alignment of the interest of certain things is not there. Yeah, partying and stuff is cool once in a while, but like I'm really not a big person that do that stuff. Like I don't really hang out on the first. I really don't do too much, around Christmas time because most times I have to work anyway. And I just know for me, if I make it to December, I'm doing good. If I don't make it to December and I have to transfer somewhere else, at least I tried. I gave it a try. And I waited out my time so that I could transfer to something else. But I would love to have the flexibility to be able to work the hours that I would like to work and still manage everything else. Like right now, like off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, though I have class and I have homework and lab and trying to play catch up during that mid half of the week because when the other half of the week is going, I'm at work like all day, all night. I do my best to try to like make time for him, and it just be like, him feeling like he's not enough, and like I'm just being so much. But my thing was in the beginning, I literally said I would like to get to know you and I would like for you to get to know me so that if there is something that you don't like or can't deal with, you know how I am. And then you can make the decision on whether or not this is for you or not. At this point, it's almost like him telling me I'm picking my work and my school over the relationship, or like I don't have any concept of what a relationship is. Oh, I know what a relationship is because I've built it with God first off. I've sat with God. I've cried with God. I've been without a job. I've been sitting down before. I sat down in 2020. I sat down in 18. I sat down in 2016. Like, what are you talking about? Even the little job that I had gotten when I was helping with my aunt and stuff, like, it wasn't paying my bills. I was so behind and drowning. And, the friends that I had reached out to kind of like, stunk their nose up or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm sorry. Like, I did say, hey, how's it going? Um, can I get a favor? I get paid next week. I just need to borrow, a couple dollars. And it was just like, real, like, nasty, like, and I'm like, wow, okay. And then I think they unfriended me or something, or said that I could unfriend them because of what they said. And I'm just like, wow, like you really different compared to what you presented yourself as when we were in, school or whatever. And, and then, um, even when my ex was like always like trying to reach out to me and talk to me about stuff, and I'm like, if you want to help me, please help me because I don't mind paying you back. I just need, help for like a week or two. And, he shut it down like, no, I can't help you type deal. Okay, no problem. But you wasn't really helping me back then either. But you didn't mind having sex with me. You didn't mind me, being stressed out about different things and your mom having to like step in and say like you should do right by her and this and that, but at the same time then your mom saying like like Nina, you different from my son, and like the crowd that you'll be around is going to be different, and I just don't think that he would fit that crowd. Back then I was like, what? Like, I'm in love, like, what are you saying? Like, how are you saying this about your son type deal? But then in the same breath, like, you talking about me and then trying to say I'm talking about you. I'm like, what? I don't have time for that drama. Um, moving forward, like I didn't have any drama after the next relationship, except for the little situation that happened. And then it just, it went where it went. And then, I tried to date a little or talk to people and, try to have like a good time. And that was failing horribly. Then I met, Ephraim, and things started off like super fast. Everything was super fast. And then all of a sudden it just started crashing. Then I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like everything was going so well. What happened here? Um, and I really did. I really thought that we was gonna get married and do all that stuff. And then he, of course, died, passed away. Um, and that was, devastating on it in itself. Of course, I, check on his auntie because he was real close to her and he always checked on her and he always wished that she was his, mom. Because him and his mom didn't really have a good, close relationship. And it's also said that him and his daughter, lost that bond as well. And so when he died, it was pretty much she didn't care. She got married. She was happy doing her life, doing her thing, and pretty much didn't want to be bothered. No problem. Cool. And then he lapsed his life insurance. So then that was just like, we couldn't really do too much with getting a funeral together because he didn't even pay the policy. So, in my mind, I'm like, like you did it despite whatever, but literally like you hurt your daughter in the long run because anything that happened to you would have went to her anyways. It wouldn't have went to me because I wasn't your wife. I wasn't his wife. And I thought that was the right thing to do is, make her his beneficiary. So after all of that was a fail, I don't know, it was real hurtful because I never even got a chance to really like grieve for real. I just kind of went through the motions. I was, going to school, working. My aunt had gotten sick from down south, she was staying in Indiana for a little bit and then ended up here in Michigan. And that was a shock because nobody knew she was even here, me or my dad. And so she had been here for like a few months and then, they found, she had cancer and stuff. So she ended up passing like that summer, the same year that Ephraim had passed. Later on that year, my stepsister husband ended up, passing away. And it was just like crazy because he passed in January and her husband passed in December of the same year in 23. So that has been 3 years now. And, reflecting on it now, like, it still is a little something there that, is just like missing. And then, then I was starting a new relationship at the same time, and trying to figure that out. But now we're here, and it's like, if I talk, it's irritating, pretty much the only time I really have time for is like at nighttime. But it's so funny that like when he was doing this stuff and coming when he could come and talking to me when he could talk to me, it was no issue on his, like I didn't give him no issues. I didn't even say nothing. I'm like, okay, like you need to, figure out your situation or figure out you before you start talking to me, really. Like I get, like, yeah, I like you a lot, but if your stuff not together and you not together, like it doesn't make sense to just like start doing stuff. So, like he started reflecting on stuff like we don't do this no more, we don't do that no more. Um, and I'm thinking like we've done a lot of things, really. We have done a lot of things, but specific things that he wants to do or that he start trying to plan and then kind of just don't even do it or fall through. Like, and then, try to get mad about it. It's like, that's irrelevant. Like, how you get mad at something when literally you see I'm sick, but you want me to come outside anyway. You see I'm, tired, but you still want to have sex with me anyway. You still, you know, see that I'm stressed out about something else, but you want to still turn around and ask questions about this and that. That at the moment I'm not thinking about it. I'm not like it's not on my mind. Like I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to pay for school. I'm trying to, try to find scholarships. I'm trying to, you know, prepare for the interviews that is ahead, near future possibly. Like I'm thinking about all of these things and it's just like, when does it slow down for Nina to just be able to breathe? And though, like, I want to breathe, like, I'm not able to breathe because I still got something else I got to take care of. I still got to, it's so many things and so many to-do lists that I have to do for myself to get myself together. And then here we are, it's either I'm arguing about something or I got an attitude or I got this going on and or you feel like I feel some type of way type deal. Which, like now I have just started to just be like, you know what? Don't even. Like don't just stop. So like the last time I was gonna say something and I just stopped. I just it's not even worth me even saying nothing because every time I open my mouth it ends up being an argument. I end up being the person who, pretty much I'm trying to get along with you and, like, are you sure you're okay? Like, you sure you don't have no mental issues going on? I'm pretty sure I probably do have mental issues, but I haven't been diagnosed with it except for anxiety, ADHD, things like that. That's about the most. Like they didn't even for real diagnose me with depression. Because I felt like I had like a little mild depression at one point. But, you know, I found out, with the progesterone and stuff kind of being off and cortisol levels being kind of off, that can, kind of make the behavior be different. You not be so calm. You might be real hyper, stuff like that, or your hormones is thrown off. But I digress because, you know, again, as women, we're always giving grace, and then when it's supposed to be for us to get the grace back, we don't get it back like that. It's not the same grace. Even though they may say, yeah, I'm giving you grace, sometimes it don't be a genuine, I'm really giving you grace because I know that you got so much going on. And I know that, this is going to eventually end. And now, when you have someone that's genuinely saying this to you. I've heard it before. I've also been told, like, you are deserving of love. You are deserving of the things that you want in life. You are deserving of your dreams and your goals and having a family and this and that. But it seemed like every relationship that I've been in, it don't lead to no kind of marriage. It just always be what I can get out of you, and then after I'm done, and or you get on my nerves, or it's not working the way I thought it was supposed to work. Now it's everything is somebody's fault and blaming one person or the other person, and like it just end up becoming so exhausting that you just be like, I just give up at this point. Like I done prayed about it, I done gave it to God about it, I done, wrote it down, journaled, I done, took walks about it, and just to clear my mind and just to talk to God about, like, hey, like, what else am I lacking? Like, I know for a fact that I struggle with communication, like, good communication. Like, I can communicate, but it's like more so I can easily write it down than express it or talk. Because when I talk about it, it turns into it don't be right. It's either, and people in the past have said that too, like it don't make sense and what are you talking about? And so like how I express myself is it doesn't I guess match what's happening at that particular time because there's so many things that have built up that, like I'm just trying to express everything that I can think of while I have the thought in front of me. And I know most people, they're like, we're talking about this, you're talking about that. So, like, this is not, a healthy conversation at this point. So, I just, kind of ball up because, like, I don't know what else to say or do after, so many points of trying to express it or trying to at least be heard, and no, I'm not trying to, make him be like my girlfriend. Like what me and one of my friends talk about is that's what we talk about, but like no, literally trying to be a best friend and really really know your person and they be your person. And then when it's not happening how you thought it was supposed to happen, and then it just hurt your feelings even more because you be like I'm happy, I feel happy, but then it's like instances when miscommunication happens that it just be like, am I happy? Are they really happy? Like you start questioning yourself about whether they are happy, if you're happy, if this is even healthy, and then it just turns into, okay, like, what else do I need to work on now? Like, I've really, when I say really been working on just like how I express myself or how I talk or how I respond, it still comes out wrong, to the point that I'm just like, all right, I done tried and tried and it's not working, and then I'm tired, and then it's almost like, you with a person and you feel like they should understand. Like, I'm really tired, but you really want to be, you know, on this right now. Or, like, I've been open to, hey, I'll learn this, that, and the other. When I was saying that, I had free time to learn whatever you wanted to teach me. And I think it was like, it kind of made like, oh no, like, this too much, and, or, um, like, if you won't be able to like handle it, and just stuff like that, that just was like kind of like not encouraging to say like, all right, babe, like I'm gonna teach you how to do. And it's so crazy because I've learned how to do certain things on cars. But you feel like I just, if I don't do something on my own, like I don't know how to do it. No, it's not that I don't know how to do it. Like I know like basic things. I used to, be outside all the time with Juro, my stepdad, and helping him with his cars when he was doing spark plugs or whatever. Um, and I thought that was cool. I'm like, oh, that's real cool, and then I got into computers and I started, trying to fix that, and then because I was, on the robotics team, we work with engineers, so yeah, like I might be a computer engineer one day. Well, if I don't, I do want to be some kind of doctor, some kind of somebody to help in the community, help with health and making people feel better and feel good about being, you know, at the hospital. The same way with like um he had said something and he said, and I was like, well, no, I wasn't aware or I didn't know. And though he was saying that was a slang, it was times that I was using a slang and he was like, you're using it incorrectly. Like he literally corrected me on how to use words and this and that. And I'm thinking, what? But you can use slang words and I'm not supposed to say nothing. And then when I do say something now, it's like, well, I wasn't literally trying to. And I'm like, now you being sarcastic because why do you have to sound like that? And then, like, because if I sound a certain way, then it's, oh, you got an attitude. Oh, you this and that. And just like now we don't went from how my sound to I have a whole full blown attitude. Yet and still I'm as calm as I can possibly be. I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna stop talking because if I continue to talk, it just gets worse and worse. And when I stopped talking, now it's just like, well, now you don't have nothing to say. Oh, I'm gonna let you get back to what you're doing. Driving, I'm driving from work. I'm not doing, I don't know why it sounded like anything to you because I just said, you're working, so I'll let you, finish up your work because you're still working, technically, especially when you're drilling in my ear, as always. But, like sometimes you want to be courteous, but then other times when you feel a certain way, now you do what you want to do. You still drill in my ear, even though my ears are sensitive, but you still do it anyway. If I mention anything that happened in the past, you will say, I only did it one time or two times and you still holding it against me. I'm not holding anything against you. I'm just telling you and trying to remind you, like, the same thing that you be wanting me to remind you about different things that you supposed to do, but you still don't do it, is the same stuff that I remind you about. I, don't like it and you still do it anyway. But then if I do something that you don't like, you want me to stop it instantly. And then I do stop instantly, or I do, gradually stop. And now it's like, okay, I'm showing the courtesy, but now you don't want to show the courtesy back. Like, how does that work? Like, how does it work? And my other question is for those that have gotten engaged and was able to get married, or they got engaged and then it didn't work. Like, how were you staying with each other? Were you staying in your own place? Were you long distance? Like, what was it that allowed your relationship to blossom and to grow? Because as I can see it, I'm growing and I feel like you just want to stay stuck. And I feel like you don't want to be open to anything else but what you are doing right now, and even though, like, I don't know everything about a car, no problem. I know how to go on YouTube and look up different things and figure out how to do stuff. I know how to read stuff if I feel like reading it or if I want to learn something about it. Like right now I'm trying to teach myself how to do the retirement stuff, the IRA stuff, and how to invest so that I have some money when I get old, just in case if I don't have no kids or I don't adopt nobody. Like I want to be able to be taken care of. And it's so crazy that I want to be taken care of and I want to have, a nice community of servicing and helping people get out of this comfort zone. The same comfort zone that you talk about people who don't want to leave out of Michigan, out of their small city, or wherever area they are staying currently, is the same thinking of not learning anything outside of what you already know. So if you want to be boxed up, that's fine. That's what you want to do. Cool. You got about 65 years to go. 70 years. And you gonna really waste your potential by saying that's all you want to do in life? No, like you are going to want to learn something else. You're gonna want to, do something else. You are always supposed to grow. You are always supposed to learn something new. So when you stop learning something new, that just slows the process down. And then that then makes you age really quickly. Like my grandfather was in his 80s and he was still doing stuff and talking and joking around and always nitpicking with people, and went to the senior place, a few times here and there. And okay, like, come on. And my other thing is, I don't even understand. Like, I understand, but I don't understand. So I don't understand how it is that people can just not work at all, stay at home, do nothing all day, smoke weed, get drunk, whatever, get high, get drunk, and not being productive. And then those that are productive, like, you got an attitude because somebody else don't want to do what you doing. But maybe I just grew out of that stage, because when I was in my 20s, the person who I'm no longer with, been years now, but he literally was like, I don't want you to do that. I don't like it and I'm not doing it. So why are you doing it? And back then I was doing it because I was trying to at least focus on my exams, try to like be a little more calmer, try to be a little, and I was always a chill person. So it wasn't like I was like off the chain or nothing. Like I was pretty chilled. I think my anxiety and stuff, have gotten bad because of the different things that happened. But for the majority of the time, I was a pretty laid back, relaxed person. Yeah, I like to have my little wine or a drink here and there when I'm not doing nothing, I'm not busy, I'm not in school, and I can really just be like, okay, cool. But I'm like, right now I'm on a focus, I'm on a journey that, the opportunities open up because God allowed those things to open up, because I was asking for certain things to open up. It took about 70 some jobs to deny for me to get this job in ER so that I can get my freaking patient care hours for PA school, while at the same time doing all of these other classes in between now and April to try to knock out as many as possible before that semester start. Yeah, I have a tutor to help with, certain things, but like I like to take my time and review certain stuff and look at things and kind of be able to like pace myself so I can do decent and well in a class. You know, I'm not trying to, say like I'm a genius, but I know a lot of information because I do read articles. I do like go out there and I do like try something different and new. And I explore certain things out there. But when I am on a grind or if I'm on a focus season, then that's the season that I'm in. And I feel like, people should meet people in their season. And if they can't meet you in your season, then why are you just lingering around and being miserable? If you're miserable and you feel miserable and you feel like somebody else is making you miserable, then why are you just trying to pretend like this is working for you if it's not? Like I've always tried to fight for my relationships. I've tried to, work on things. I've tried to do counseling. I've tried to, you know, everything that I could think of to improve as a person, for myself, for someone else. And it still fails every time. Still fails. Like the goal parts don't fail because those are pretty much kind of ingrained in me to be like a go-getter and to figure out how you're going to get it and how you're going to finish it and how you're not going to be a quitter. When I was younger, oh my God, I used to quit things so fast. Like if I didn't like it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And I would quit, you know. But the things that I did like, and when I had to stop doing them, yeah, those hit home runs for me because I loved being a ballerina. I loved, you know, um, playing tennis, and I loved like dancing, not in front of people, but just dancing and being free and loving on myself and just having a good time and really trying to like even now like trying to find it back. Like I can't even find it back because I done had a neck injury happen. I've, had a couple car accidents. I done, had some traumas, some eh, just things that was just out of my control that I was like, okay, let me take a pause back and reevaluate and let me try to, maneuver and and get through. And yeah, I'm very resilient. I'm very strong. I'm very, firm about certain things that I have to get done. And yeah, if I'm the type of person that likes to be organized and have a calendar and have a time frame of what needs to be done and how it's going to get done, then that's how I function. Maybe that's not how everybody else in the world function, but that's how I function. And I don't know, maybe there's somebody out there that functions just like I do and is doing great and probably got their family and probably got their career and probably, have a decent amount of money and a nice house and a few cars and, their life is together and they ain't got a whole lot of bills. I would like to get there. I would like to get there. I would like for my life to be a little more joyful, a little more less stressful, a little more. I don't have to think to do this or ask for that. But for right now, I'm doing what I have to do until God say like, "Hey, Nina, like, let's go this way." All right, cool. It's been nice knowing you and nice being able to, do this job. And I've outgrown it, so now it's time for me to move on. I thought they were going to open up the position for the health informatics job at my day job, but it never got open, so I just forgot about it. And I'm still in HR. It's still flexible, and I don't have a whole bunch of craziness happening. So it works out for me right now. So, and I pretty much almost met the deadline for how long I wanted to be in HR from my original, goals, that I would try to stay in HR about 4 or 5 years, maybe 5 years at most, and then do PA school and then move and go from there. Of course, life happens, and so some of the plans don't always end up how you write it out. Since then, this is, I guess, the reason I don't really have a lot of expectations for people, because the expectations that I have in my mind is not going to be the same expectations that the next person has in theirs. And also, if you're not going to discuss the expectations to the other person, it doesn't even make sense to have expectations in the first place. Now, you might have expectations for yourself and other things around you that is kind of able to be better controlled, but for the most part, it don't even make sense to have them, and you're not gonna not stand by them or be firm about the things that you believe in. So, I just was like, you know what, it don't even make sense to have them on another person. If I can't even fulfill them my own self, then it don't make sense for somebody else, or to make them, or have them assume and think that they're doing everything perfectly, and then all of the expectations that you are having in your head is not linking up with what they're doing with their actions. So again, I just had a couple of, little things that I wanted to get off my chest, because I just felt like, when I try to communicate with him, it don't even turn out right. And I just be like, okay, how else can I say it without feeling like I'm too emotional, or angry, or whatever. And I don't know, like, being a woman in general, like, you go through so many emotional changes from when you start as a preteen all the way up until, you start hitting the premenopause and menopause type era, to, like, older age, no filters at all. So I don't know, like, I pray that, like, it can get itself together. We can get it together so it can be together. Because right now it's just looking like it's falling apart, and like we're not really together. And like we are just a hit and miss type deal. And I just really feel like, when people are goal oriented and others are not, like, it's just already like not even equal. Because if you had other goals that you wanted to accomplish, a lot of the stuff that is going on right now wouldn't even bother you. Like, you say you want to get your, CDLs back. You say you want to do this and that, and then you just kind of stop and don't do it. So what is it that you really want to do? Because right now it don't seem like you know what you want to do at all. But you have so many ideas and so many dreams, and yet and still you say, I'ma do this until I die. Nobody said nothing about what you were doing, how and when you wanted to stop that. We know just from how it is that you definitely are never going to stop doing that. You, even when you claim that you are on vacation and you're saying that, oh, I need a vacation, but Your vacation is not a vacation. So, yeah. And yeah, I'm sorry, like I'm in school and yeah, some of my vacations are not always a vacation, but when I was, doing my master's program and losing sleep and going to work and doing crazy hours and still trying to spend time and still do things with you, like nobody thought about how is Nina? Really? Are you okay? Really? No, I was not okay. I was working on zero energy and I was still going through my masters like I was a free person to just do everything and still keep everything together. How did I manage to pass my classes? I had tutors and people who were support staff that was, being encouraging. Now I come to my doctorate program and yeah, I was killing my doctorate program up until I tried to do this research paper. And then that research paper just turned into a whole can of worms. And I was like, okay, like, what? Hmm. Hope. And yet and still, I was doing that alone. And I was still killing the program with A's and B's, with two classes left, one of which got dropped, and the other class I failed. So, yeah, like, yeah, I'm very intelligent. I'm very, I get help where I need help at when I need help, but I'm just like, at the same time, like, yeah, give me a break sometimes. I give you a break all the time. I'm taking it for the team all the time, like, and I don't complain too often. And when I do complain or when I do bring up something, please listen. I'm not asking you to fix it, but please listen sometimes. I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm not trying to talk at you. I just want somebody to listen to me talk like I do to the little crowd that I have on my YouTube channel. Sometimes it might just be I'm just wanting to vent and that's it. And then I'll be done with it. But when you like want to shut me down and all of that stuff and do make it seem like it's just so like irritating to you, that just mean that you never even really got to know me for real. And so now everything that I do or say is irritating. And then what? You still happy? So anyways, I just wanted to come out here because I haven't really played catch up, but I passed my lab, my A&P lab. I got an A, 95.8%. I am taking medical terminology and intro to psych right now through Sophia. And again, a lot of these classes I'm taking over are refresher courses, so it's not like I don't know the material. It's just I gotta take it over for it to count towards a PA program. Um, I will have, I want to say, abnormal psych um, starting in March. So I have the other half to get through that part. But at least like right now, playing catch up and making sure that I'm, caught up with my microbiome is going to be awesome. So, yeah, I plan to this weekend get that caught up and squared away and up to date so that I can get that graded when he does grade it. And then, yeah, I don't like pen, but it is what it is. I will do my best to um, write and get that together. But really just trying to knock out these classes. Like I said, I think once I knock out these 4 classes, I would then have, I think, 4 or 5 left. Per one of my conversations I had with a friend, she was like, Nina, you was like really killing it, even though like it don't seem like you are, but you are doing like so well. And I just have to say that I have to credit God for all of the things that has been transpiring, from our car to like being able to have a home to being able to afford, taxes and all that stuff, and just really give back to those that really helped me get where I'm at right now. And so I'm very thankful and very humble, and I am, doing my best. I say I try to be the best version of myself moving forward each and every day. But that's all for right now. Of course, I'll let you know when the semester ends, like what the updates are, what scholarships I may have found. If you are ever looking for some scholarships, I will do my best to try to put it in the comments, and or a description or something like that. I don't know. I probably just put it in the comments though. And I guess until next time, be nice and kind to one another, and make sure you tell somebody that you love them, and give them a big hug, kiss if you want to, but really, be genuine about it. So until next time, ciao.